Small accounts, start small, strategies for day trading momentum markets. How can you grow a small account and reach professional level? Before we do anything, I'm just going to show you a couple of trades today. Okay, these are not from a small account, but I will go over that in a minute. Excuse me, So I'm going to just show you a couple of trades I've done today. This is the NASDAQ today. That's my entry point. So I didn't get the low. I actually got relatively high, but nonetheless, I still made a profit. I actually took it off just at this big 13,000, and it spent a good sort of hour or more just peeling right back. Took an oil trade as well, but I'll just stick with this NASDAQ for the moment. But even if I've traded £7 a point there, but if you trade, if you start off at £1 a point, for example, this was it's about only a 50 pip move, so you could have made, well, assuming you got in late like me, you could have made £50 in about 30 minutes. Here you made 400. I think I took it off just as it hit 13,000. I got about 430 odd, I think, for 30 minutes trading. Okay, so let's just talk about the strategy behind here. Let's just look at, before I move on, I'll just show you another couple of trades here. This was a gold trade on 15th, can't remember what 15th was now, where are we? Last week sometime. So we can see £80 a point. Okay, again, this is a big account, but I will talk to you about what I'm trading and how you can scale up once you've mastered day trading. Okay, so decent support down here. That's my entry point there. It's 1744. And again, I took it off. I got 1784 here. So I took it off around about here. And gold has peeled right back since and struggling. Sorry, it's about to sneeze, that's why I paused. There's some more trades here. That was oil short on the 16th. Oil trade on the 12th, and so on. Right, so if I now go back to the charts. So this is we'll start off with the UK FTSE, nice, quiet, calm UK FTSE. So I'm just going to outline a couple of simple strategies that you can apply. This dotted line is the cash close, and this bold purple line is the end of week close. So you can see this is a 10-minute chart on the FTSE, and you can see this is the open today. So we actually opened lowish. But you can see what they've done is markets tend to backfill into gaps. So if you close in the cash market over here yesterday, so that was Monday, you opened here on Tuesday, that's where the market finished at the end of the day. So if the market has dropped since the close, it tends to backfill and then reverts to the trend. So the trend that created the gap was down. That's the move back into backfill the gap. So you short into the gap when you get the signal. So you get a signal there, you get a lower close there, and from that point onwards, it's about 75.10. You would short into there, stop above the gap, and then see if you can get that to at least go lower. If you close underneath this area here, then stay short and don't get out. But if it appears that this is a very narrow range day, where it's gone towards a gap fill, failed to fill, and then got a leg down. And even now, we're not that far off today's low anyway. So that's still, that's a simple gap strategy based on a 10-minute FTSE chart. And so the entry was up there at about 75.15. So there's only a 35 pip move there. But let's put it this way, if you got £2 a point on a small account, £2 a point on a 35 pip move gives you £70. If you got £70 on the FTSE short in the morning for half an hour, and then traded the Nasdaq on the long side and got another 50 pips at £1 a point or £2 a point, that's 130, 200 quid, 130 quid, 200 quid, depending on the size of the position. Okay, this is not going to make you super rich, but the idea is you start small. If you've got a strategy that can get you a small amount of money in a small frame part of the day, then you can get back to work. Initially, I think that the trick to becoming a full-time trader is not to throw yourself into full-time trading, because it takes time to learn these skills, it takes time to get used to these kinds of trades, assuming you want to be a day trader rather than an investor. But this is a great way to initially supplement your income. You could supplement your income on a very small account with less than £500. With an account that's less than £500, you could have created about £150 to £200 today on a £500 account. If you do that consistently, then your £500, even within a month, is going to be doubled and trebled and so on. Now, like I said, I'm not suggesting that you certainly can't come into the market straight away and pull out these kinds of pips without knowing what you're doing, without having a very specific strategy that allows you to manage your account. But if you invest in yourself and learn how to do this and learn what happens on the open market when the market's open, and what's the most likely path a trade's going to take in these situations, then you can make money. I mean, if you look at the oil today, excuse me 1 second. On the oil today, we've had here's the cash close, here's the Friday close. So we dropped, actually this was yesterday, wasn't it? Yeah, this was yesterday. Dropped hard from the Friday close into this area here and did a great big V shape. Now, that's a huge area of support down there. If you had your charts marked up in the way I do, you would have seen that major support. I wasn't trading yesterday, I was out all day yesterday, but had I been at my screen yesterday, I would have seen at 3:00 PM UK time that had dropped into a major area support area. It came down on low volume. And this is typical of a Monday where the market just repositions itself back in line with where it left off last week. Today we had, you can see the cash close got bought. That's actually in the early London open. So we went from $90.60 and a recent high of around about 94. So that's done about 350 pips today. So if you traded £1 a point on a small account, that's £350. Now, these in my system, in the way in my strategy, this hits. I was actually shorting up here because it hit a major resistance point. I actually got there's over 100 pips in that little move there. It doesn't look like it. There's 100 pips, so 350 pips to the long side, at least 100 pips to be had on the short side. And all based on the gap, the support, the resistance, all the basics of trading. There's, it's not rocket science. This is just the basics of trading. Let's look at the NASDAQ. So I took this NASDAQ trade. You can see here why, because in the open period, we'd already had a move in London up into resistance. So in the US Open, they went back into the London support, held the gap, and then went back into resistance again. So but because that was hitting 13,000, I decided to take that trade off and take that profit. And now we dropped right back because we've done a 1-2 wave move. But potentially, if we hold this gap, we might do a 3-wave move back into 13,000. And that's typically how markets move in 3-wave moves. So you've got a 1-2 3-wave into the open, you're getting a 1-2 potential 3-wave into the cash market. So this was the European London area. That was the open. So we've got the potential to push back to 13k here. I'm not in this trade anymore, but I would start to buy this if we hold that gap. It's very slow, relatively slow day today. A lot of data coming through in this week. We've got US GDP this week. Okay, so you can see this is a simple gap strategy and a simple, if I just mark the open bar, that's the open 10 minutes of the trade, of the session. So you can see at the moment we are moved under the open break, then we moved over the open break, and now we've got a couple of moves. So it's very range bound. This is unusually range bound. However, if we hold that gap and close above here, I would buy here and then see if we can break through 13,000. Okay, you can see it looks as if that gap got bought now as when we're starting to move out. So this could be getting back to that high. So you can tick a lot of boxes here. You can tick the gap, the open range. We're going to move in London on the long side here. So that move there is very similar to that range there. That height is about that height. So if we break up here, I'd expect that height to go on top of the market, on top of that range. Okay, it's a simple strategies, but these are just based on patterns that repeat in the market every single day. So if you understand the patterns and you understand how these markets move, you can trade a small account and grow this as time goes on. So if you want to learn these strategies, have a look at this page, which I'm just about to link you to. So I'm going to drag this page over. If you have a look at this page here, trade daily, earn daily with a system. So we talk about here, it talks about the strategies I use. It talks about the open breakout, the mid to early session pullbacks, and intraday reversals. Intraday reversals, what I did in the oil, when I shorted oil for 100 pips. But on the NASDAQ, I used that strategy on the breakout. If you scroll down on this page, I'll just think you'll link to, you'll see all the elements of the system that you're going to learn. Gap and go, open break, big reloads, intraday reversals, etc. This program gets, so if you come on my program, you get to have an intensive 4.5 hour program. You get check sheets, journal templates, system sheets, and then you get to come into my live training room, watch me take these trades, and then after the live trade room is finished, there's a chat room and an alert room, and so you're fully covered in terms of what I'm offering, what I'm teaching, what I'm offering, and the support I can give. Right, so if you're interested, I'll send you a link here. I'll just click on that booking form link you saw me click on. And the next program is August the 27th. That includes, the price includes 4 weeks in the trading room. It's still not quite breaking out yet. 4 weeks in the trading room, and yeah, we trade the same patterns every day, the same system, and we expect the same results. Any questions? Sorry, I've just talked at you constantly, but have you got any questions for me? Let's have a look at the Dow while you're thinking of any questions. Let's have a look at the open range. So we didn't open and close above that area at all during the whole session so far. So once we got a lower close just past the hour in New York, 10 a.m. in New York, that basically broke down. We closed underneath here at about an hour and a half, hour and 20 into the session, and we can't get back into that range. So that still looks as if that's lower. If we now break that low, I would expect that to go lower. So even in a market like this, you probably need to spend at least an hour a day on it. The main move was completely done and dusted by 4 o'clock. It triggered at 3 o'clock, was over and done with by 4 o'clock. So the same goes for the FTSE. Actually, look at the DAX. The German market is better than the FTSE. Let's have a look at how this one performed. Right, so that's the open range. Sold immediately into the open, pushed into resistance once London opened, and then a series of lower highs as we slip back into the Central European period. So this is unusually tight. We don't normally see ranges that tight. There's a lot of data coming out in the coming next couple of days, particularly when we get to early September. So as we're getting back in towards September, you'll see much more volatility, much deeper ranges, much more potential. But in the meantime, there's still a profit to be had in this. It's just not as good as it could be on other days. Let's have a look at Euro. You can do this on Forex, you can do it on Bitcoin. You can do all these are good day trading markets, but some are a lot more buoyant than others. That's why I like the US markets. So here the London opened here. And you can see once we broke up here, we went right back. Here's the three-wave move. Direction, pull back, move. I'll do that again. Direction, pull back, move. That's typical of a good, healthy session. And you can see once these pullbacks were right on the top of that grey zone. So there's a very clean pullback. All right, let's have a look at crypto. Don't often look at crypto. So this is Bitcoin. Let's have a look at when London opened here. Spent the whole time above the London zone. Look at the bigger picture on this one. This one's really struggling. I posted a sell signal up here in November, December for the Bitcoin. Why? Because it's got a lot of gaps. There's a gap there on the left on the 23rd of December 2020. So we only filled that recently. We only filled that in June. And the other gap is, I've lost it. Oh, it's here. We filled that gap. That gap was created on the 22nd of July 21, and we filled it in January this year. Right, no questions coming through. Have you got any questions for me at
Mike,
all?
Can you hear me?
Or is that all crystal clear?
Mike, can you hear me? Hello?
Okay, I mean, what I've not showed you here is there are, like I said, I've not reinvented the wheel for this program, this system that I use. But what I have done is I've brought a lot of basic tools together that you can use very, very simply, and you can use every day. Oh no, I can't hear you, sorry. Okay, let me just turn the right, okay, I can hear you now.
Yeah. So, Mike, you can hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, yes.
Yeah. So see, I'm pretty new to it. I have some theoretical knowledge, but no practical. Okay. So my point is that whatever you were showing earlier, that program, which costs 500 something. So what exactly does it include? If you can explain 2 minutes on that, and then.
Yeah, sure. It's basically it's a very intensive 4.5 hours, broken up into very simple modules.
Okay.
That takes you right from the basics through to how the system works, and the 4 key strategies that we use. We only normally use 1 strategy a day, but the point is the strategies are very simple, using simple technical tools, but you don't. In the early days, obviously, it's maybe a little bit daunting for you, particularly if you haven't traded for that long.
Right.
But the point is that the system is very specific. There are very specific specifications to enter a trade and take a profit. That's point number 1. Point number 2 is you get check sheets, so you know exactly where you are anyway. And point number 3 is, for at least the first month and for as long as you like, you're in my trading room. So I'm showing you the trades I'm taking, and showing you how the system works. So it's a 4.5 hour program with those modules. The output of that is, like I said, the check sheets, and the overall strategies laid out in sheets that you can print off and keep. and then that gets you straight off into the program itself.
Okay, and you'll also explain us a little bit about like the tools or the kind of account needed and all, right?
In the program?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh yes, I mean the program is very, very detailed.
Okay. Because
It's
I do not
interactive.
have any account or any such thing, so I would need all kind of information to start with. So yeah.
Yes. You know, it's not, the 4.5 hours is not me just charging through a whole lot of slides. It's very interactive. We do simulated trading, so everybody gets to practice the system. And so at the end of it, I don't expect people to go on the program and totally get it, and totally absorb it in one swoop. You know, I expect people to need help to identify the trades. I expect people to need help to trust the system. So that's why I run the live trading room, so that people can see firsthand what I'm doing, and they can see exactly all the steps I'm taking to safeguard my own account.
Right.
And make sure that I get that profit. I've showed you a whole bunch of slides with successful trades on them. You know, I do get stop outs. Obviously, I do. I am not some. You know, nobody's a genius. Nobody's a guru in this game. You know, the business model is such that you take small losses, but you let your runners run to their targets. So in that up move in the Nasdaq, initially I got in a little bit too high, but I re-entered and got that £450 profit. So I got a very small loss before I took that trade, and once I took that trade, I got 100 pips on the oil as well. So it's a good day's trading. Yeah, but don't be concerned about. Yeah, I don't, like I say, I don't expect everybody to totally get the system from day one. Far from it. I know they won't.
Right.
So that's why I go over it every day. I make it quite clear why I'm taking the trade and what the strategy is that I'm using on that day.
Okay. And as a beginner, so how much time would we need to spend, say, on a regular basis during the
well, once you've done the program, you could spend as little as an hour a day, or you obviously don't have to trade every day. I mean, I've got traders who spend about an hour in the morning trading the DAX, and I don't trade the DAX in the live room. I only trade the US market. And then they join me to trade the US market when the US market opens. And then I send out signals once the trading room closes, because the trading room's only open for about 45, 50 minutes.
Okay.
Once that's closed, then I have an app that I send signals out on.
Okay, thanks, Mike. And while the program is on, how much time do we need to spend within the program, those 4 weeks?
But the program is 4.5 hours straight off the bat on the Saturday the 27th. I run them regularly, and some people prefer just to do it by video. You don't have to join me on the day because the whole thing is recorded. So you could just do it at your own time on a video and then ask me questions in the live trading room.
That's great. Thanks, Mike. Thanks for all the information.
All right, brilliant. If you want to email me or have a quick chat at any stage, that's fine. Just go onto the website and let me know.
Sure, I'll do it. Let me go through that website, read through some of those. I mean, how it all. And it looks very interesting. I have been looking for such programs for quite a time, and then I found your session. That's why I registered to be here. So
good. Okay. Well, what in this sort of demonstration, this very, very short demonstration that I've given you, I've only given you a tiny part of the program, the very basics of the program. There's a whole what I call an anchor system that that sits over this. It's very simple. You know, it's not rocket, again, it's not rocket science. It's very, very simple. But the anchor system is a template that sits over any chart you want to trade. If you want to trade Forex or oil, whatever it is you want to trade, this template sits over the price, and you can pick the trades off using that template, using that system. Right, okay, well, I've been talking for 30 minutes. By all means, email me or contact me or drop me a line if you want to have a chat. As I said, there is a lot of detail on the website. If anything's not clear, let me know. It appears to be quite a range-bound day still. Oh, okay, so the Nasdaq is picking up here. But like I said, this has done a very unusual day. I would normally expect the Nasdaq to have, or any DAX or anything, to have really, if it was going to break, I'd expect the Nasdaq to have been up here by now. Or if it's going to break to the short side, you know, I'd expect it to do a good couple of hundred pips by now. But it's just trapped in this range. But you know, the system copes with that. If you get a range-bound day, the system copes with it and says, look, you know, you're getting, it goes above the range, under the range, it's not going anywhere, don't trade it.
Okay.
So it copes with, because the anchor chart is telling you that there's no signals. The anchor chart will tell you that you're trapped in a range. If you keep trading it, you'll chip away at your account. But the system does cope with that as well. All right, well, thanks for joining me. I will be I run these every Tuesday at the same time. So I'll be sending out reminder links next week. I talk about slightly different subjects, but yeah, I look forward to talking to you again.
Sure, thanks, Mike. It was still
Thanks for joining me, and bye for now.